Good morning to our viewers in St. Martin and around the world. You're watching SXM Daily News Magazine, a live weekly show to bring you up to date with the latest news, current events, and feature stories. I'm Valerie Van Putten, and I'm joined by my co-host, Fernando Clark. Good morning, Fernando.
We'd like to thank you for tuning in to our live broadcast, where we'll also be covering news items that you may have missed or even forgotten this week. Let's get into the headlines for today.
The detailed stories that we have for you today are the latest COVID-19 updates and St. Martin's battle against the Delta variant outbreak. We also have the latest weather report and more coming right up.
Organic Creations is your place when looking for natural health supplements and whole foods. We supply a wide variety of herbal teas, multivitamins, liquid herbs, artist life products, organic nuts and grains, essential oils, and supplements for a wide variety of health conditions, all at reasonable price. Our certified nutritionist is the perfect guide for supplements that best suits you. Inquire also about our gift certificate for that special someone. Remember, your health is your responsibility. So visit Organic Creations today at shop number 1 in the Orange Grove Shopping Center there in Colby, or call us at 721-523-9496. We open Monday to Friday 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., Saturdays 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Organic Creations, where your health is top priority.
Welcome back. We do apologize for that glitch just now, but as you know, we are doing a live program and sometimes things will happen. In our first story, the St. Martin Medical Center has temporarily halted all non-urgent procedures and admissions. In light of the rise in COVID cases of COVID-19 and the prevalence of the highly contagious Delta variant, St. Martin Medical Center, SMMC, has temporarily halted all non-urgent procedures and admissions on all inpatient wards effective Thursday, August the 12th, 2021. This is in an effort to alleviate the burden on the hospitals, which currently has 16 active COVID-19 positive patients admitted at the St. Martin Medical Center. It is unfortunate that a year and a half later, we are right back to where we were in April of 2020. The decision to temporarily halt these procedures and admissions was not taken lightly, as we recognize the inconvenience this may cause for patients who may have already made arrangements. We do believe that it is absolutely necessary and in the best interest of our patients and staff, said Dr. Felix Holliday, Medical Director and Chairman of the Outbreak Management Team, the OMT. St. Martin Medical Center is exploring all avenues and possibilities as it pertains to increasing care capacity. Patients currently admitted will be assessed by their treating physician and discharged if deemed fit with support in the form of outpatient consultations with their physician if necessary. Appointments at the St. Martin Medical Center outpatient department polyclinics will continue as planned. Patients visiting St. Martin Medical Center are asked to ensure that they will fill out the COVID-19 screening questions truthfully, that their masks are worn correctly, and that social distancing rules and guidelines are adhered to. Only persons with appointments may be allowed to enter the building with the exception of minors and medically indicated companions. Persons who refuse to comply or cooperate may be asked to leave the premises. Fernando?
And Minister of Health responds to data on virus and gives an update on active cases. Minister of Public Health, Social Development and Labor, VSR, Omar Otley, is reminding the general public of the COVID-19 measures that are still obligatory. In just a week, the active COVID numbers surged to over 300 plus persons. 18 patients are currently hospitalized at the St. Martin Medical Center, and 290 persons are in home isolation. To date, 40 persons have succumbed to the disease. We would prefer not to go towards a full lockdown, but we cannot continue to have persons behaving recklessly while numbers of active cases keep rising, said Minister Otley. The burden on the healthcare sector is tremendous. Minister Otley is emphasizing that there are ministerial regulations in place which regulates the following. The hours for business sectors. All businesses are to close from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. Number 2, a ban on mass gathering. Number 3, requirements for businesses and or any type of organization such as churches to implement hand sanitizing stations, wearing of masks and social distancing to prevent the spread of the virus. All bars, nightclubs, dance clubs, restaurants and places rented out for parties and events should be closed between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. Any violations of the business hours is punishable with 4 months detention, or as we say in Dutch, hechtenis, or a fine of 5,000 guilders. If there is a confirmed or suspended case of COVID-19 in any business, or the business poses a serious threat to the health of the public, the Minister of VSR may order closure of the buildings or sections of the buildings. All public gatherings are prohibited. This applies to gathering in places accessible to public or designated as general nuisance area, including gas stations, parking lots, sport fields, beaches, and so on. The public is obliged to follow the instructions from the police at all times, as they will enforce stricter measures after 11 p.m. This past week, St. Martin has unfortunately witnessed several deaths of vaccinated and unvaccinated individuals. According to the Prime Minister, all COVID-19 deaths were people who had underlying conditions. This entails diabetes, high blood pressure, and other chronic or non-communicable diseases. Residents who are returning from abroad must also have proof of a PCR or antigen COVID-19 test upon entry to the island. This goes into effect as of August 16th. Minister Otley shared the following during the opening statements to the public at Wednesday's August 11th Council of Ministers press briefing.
256 active cases. We average 25 to 30 cases a day. Based on the latest results, 100% of these cases were the Delta variant. I remember July 12th, we were at 19 active cases. And I stood right here and I warned in the public that 2 of the genotypes were Delta variant. Every week we get up here and we warn the public that the Delta variant is 3 times as potent, spreads 3 times as fast. A month later, we went from 19 to 256 cases. We have had 4 deaths in the past 4 days. The reasons, since we speak about transparency, the reasons that the deaths were reported a couple of days after, I would like to touch on it. On Friday, we lost someone at the SMMC, and they were there due to other circumstances, not COVID related, but had serious underlying conditions. The same thing for the person that passed on Saturday. Unfortunately, they contracted COVID while being at SMMC. After passing, the professionals needed to determine whether the death was due to complications or due to COVID-19. After a couple of days, well, one person was 1 day, the person that was on Friday was 2 days. After those days, it was determined to us, to CPS, that they were COVID related. Unfortunately, on the Sunday, we lost someone too. So once the information was related to us that it was COVID related and not due to complications, we immediately published. I don't hide from anyone. I have nothing to hide if we speak of transparency, because hiding from the public will only endanger the public. As a matter of fact, many persons got upset when I stated that the hospital capacity will soon be overrun. Many persons say, how can you make a statement like that? Well, Curacao is at capacity, Aruba is at capacity, Friendside has issues with capacity, Guadeloupe and Martinique have issues with capacity. If you want me to lie to you, then you need another minister, because I'm going to tell you the truth. The truth.
With the Friendside? Okay, and we're back on. Now, regarding the situation on the French side, St. Martin, that has not improved as well. Over the past 2 weeks, the Préfet Délégué Serge Gouterion at a press conference said on Thursday afternoon that he brought forward the curfew for French side, and that is to start from 8 p.m. Yesterday evening, August 13th, as the Louis Constant Fleming Hospital activated its white plan for COVID cases. The new curfew hours will remain in place until August the 20th, and the gendarmerie has been instructed to ensure the curfew is being adhered to. Hospital Director Marie-Antoinette Lampis-Patos disclosed that there are currently 23 patients in the COVID unit, which has a capacity of 24 beds. 3 of those patients are on ventilators. The white plan permits the hospital to add 8 more beds for COVID treatment. The director stated that evacuations to Guadeloupe hospitals are not an option at the moment, as the hospitals there are saturated, but with regular communication on the status of patients in Guadeloupe, an evacuation could be possible when a patient in Guadeloupe is discharged. Wow. Fernando, your thoughts on that?
Well, you know,
why is it growing so much?
You know, people are being irresponsible. People are not wearing their masks, they're not adhering to the protocol, and this is causing the
authorities?
Not only the authorities, but the virus is causing the virus to spread. Yeah. You know, and we have to be careful also with the information that we are getting, because people are confused. They're not sure whether if you are vaccinated, if you can still get the virus and spread it. Well, people are not sure.
That has been said. It has been proven that even if you have the vaccine, that you can still get it. It's just that it's not as serious. You can recover from it. You won't die from it. Yes.
Yeah. You know, but it says here that as of August 13, the number of active cases on St. Martin South are 324 cases. This is the highest we have ever been, Valerie.
And it should be very low.
We should be going on low now, you know. There are 36 persons who tested positive with COVID-19, but 19 persons have recovered. So we're seeing that people are recovering, but the number of deaths are going up. You know, I'd like to extend our deepest sympathies to the friends and families of those who have lost a family member. But it's just that the community now have to play their part and be responsible. You know, it's for your own good. You know, this is not about the government. It's not about the authorities.
It's about you. You and your family members, your friends, your loved ones. You know, we don't need to be losing any more loved ones just because we are being irresponsible. So please wear your mask, social distance, sanitize, you know, and do all of the protocol that that we have been doing. It's nothing new. You know, we've been going through this a year and a half now, you know. So that is something that we just have to do. But Fernando, another story is, of course, of importance is our weather. So please lead us into that.
Yes, we are still in the 2021 Atlantic hurricane seasons, and we are approaching the peak of the season.
Yes.
You know, so our weather report for today, it says, lingering moisture from the recent tropical wave may cause brief showers today. However, conditions will once again deteriorate with the approach of a newly upgraded tropical storm Grace, which is expected for tonight. An increase in clouds, winds, and thunderstorms will occur through the latter part of the forecast period. Motorists and persons utilizing low-lying areas should remain vigilant for street flooding and rock falls along hillsides. Seas are expected to peak at 9 feet with the arrival of Tropical Storm Grace. Small craft operators and seabathers should exercise caution. A small craft advisory will be issued later today. And tonight through Sunday morning, it will be partly cloudy at first, becoming increasingly cloudy and windy with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. The outlook through Monday morning, partly cloudy to cloudy, with isolated showers and isolated thunderstorm possible. So we have to really be careful with the upcoming weather. Be vigilant.
Right,
be vigilant.
Start moving stuff around and prepare. You know, even though we won't get anything, hopefully, but it's always to be prepared. Better be prepared than unprepared.
Yep. And coming up next, we have Minister addresses students during school visit, and the local author publishes 7 books. Wow. We have further details on those headlines and more. Thank you for staying with us. We'll be right back after this brief commercial break.
Organic Creations is your place when looking for natural health supplements and whole foods. We supply a wide variety of herbal teas, multivitamins, liquid herbs, Artist Life products, organic nuts and grains, essential oils, and supplements for a wide variety of health conditions, all at a reasonable price. Our certified nutritionist is the perfect guide for supplements that best suits you. Inquire also about our gift certificate for that special someone. Remember, your health is your responsibility. So visit Organic Creations today at shop number 1 in the Orange Grove Shopping Center there in Colby, or call us at 721-523-9496. We open Monday to Friday 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., Saturdays 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Organic Creations, where your health is top priority. Organic Creations is your place when looking for natural health supplements and whole foods. We supply a wide variety.
Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for joining us today. You are watching SXM Daily News, and I'm Valerie Van Putten.
And I'm Fernando Clark. Here are more developments. Minister of Education encourages students and gives an update on the school bus ID. Dr. Anders Rudolph Samuel, Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sports, shared a word of motivation with students of the Marie Genevieve de Weaver School in Hope Estate and encouraged them to perform at their best to achieve a successful school year. Here's further context of his message to the students.
I am here this morning to encourage you to do your best for your exams, even though it's a far way. In the beginning, like now, long before it starts, you are being encouraged to pay attention, do your homework, study well, because I am expecting you to be among the top diploma honors in the end of the exam. Okay? I will come back to encourage you more, that you would do your homework, study your lesson, be brave, ask questions. Anything you do not understand, you ask. Read your books so that we know that at the end, together with your teacher and manager of the school, we will have a very successful year. You know we have COVID, right? And we have to pay attention to the COVID situations. So wear your mask at all times, wash your hands, and keep the distance that you're supposed to keep. In front of you, you have the first package, and it means that you are now ready to start, because I see you have pencils, paper, you have book, you have rulers, you have scissors, highlighters, whiteout, you have everything, pencil sharpeners, to be able to begin.
The minister also provided an update on the school bus ID registration and provided further information for parents and guardians. He implored the deadline of September, which is soon approaching. Here's what the minister had to say about that application process.
Students have now registered to make use of the school busing service provided by the government in the Register and Ride on the School Bus campaign. The campaign, which started on August 2nd, 2021, is an effort of the government to reintroduce school bus cards and to improve on the quality of the school busing service. Although all students are permitted to use the service up until September 2021, only students who have registered and obtained a bus card from the government of St. Martin via their schools will be permitted to make use of the school busing service after September 2021. In order to obtain access to the service, parents and students have been making use of an online registration form, www.stmartingov.org/register-and-ride. The registration forms solicits information about the students, their parents, and the needs to and from school. All registrations must include an ID or passport of the student and parent or guardian, as well as a photo of the student to be attached to the ID. Parents and guardians are also required to accept the conditions for the support, which indicate minimum standards for behavior of students while making use of the school busing service. The Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth and Sports met with the school boards and school management last Wednesday, August 4th, 2021, and parties have agreed to support students and parents of their schools who require assistance to finalize the online registration process. Therefore, parents who are still unable to complete the registrations are requested to inform their child's school and request support.
Tamara Leonard publishes a series of children books. Former Member of Parliament, businesswoman, and now author Tamara Leonard recently released 7 books for children and teenagers while battling breast cancer. Leonard, who is an impactful voice for breast cancer awareness in the community, recently underwent chemotherapy and treatment as she's recovering. During her process, she decided to distract herself with the art of storytelling, a gift that she enjoys making use of. These books are for children aged 5 to 15, and her 7th book is an adult coloring book with scriptures to inspire people to meditate on God's word. Our newsroom had the opportunity to interview the new author, and this is what she had to say about publishing her books.
The idea of writing children's book wasn't something that I always wanted to do and accomplish the goal that I was set out to to reach. During battling cancer, chemotherapy is the real beast, you know, because I always tell people I can't tell you what cancer feel like because I don't feel that. I do know what the side effects and the aftermath of chemotherapy is, you know, and in an attempt to combat that, I wanted to do something that would distract me from focusing on how I was feeling. I didn't want how I was feeling to dictate how I would be, you know, and so I wanted to come up with something that would distract me. And one day, night rather, scrolling through TikTok, I saw someone that wrote children's books, and so I was like, I have a problem writing, you know, I'm not, I tell stories, I'm good with storytelling, you know, so I said I will try that, and I tried it with one book, and it happened fast, and then I tried a second book, and guess what, we're up to 7 books now, 6 of which are stories, and not necessarily fantasy, it's real life stories, real life hacks or strategies, manners, discipline, morals, principles, you know, and so 6 of them is about that, and the other one is an adult coloring book that has scriptures on every page that while coloring you can meditate on those scriptures. It's just a fun way to learn scripture, and that worked for me, so I said, okay, let me use the opportunity now to do a book for that. So to answer your question, really, this was a distraction from how I was feeling, and you know, not that it was a competition, but I couldn't leave cancer for a second time, wipe me out of a whole year, you know, and not have anything to show for it. You know, time is literally money, and so instead of there sulking, I decided, well, okay, I'm going to take up this challenge and I'm going to write some children's books, and those books are going to pay for my expenses, because the next thing is very expensive. You know, the insurance is going to do their part, but there's a big chunk of it that insurance doesn't take care of. And so I will educate through those books. I will encourage reading, and it's going to help me pay my bills, you know, accumulated. I will also give back to the community, but as me on a natural, you know. Okay, so the first book I wrote was called Please, Please, Please. And it's a book about, now the idea was to do, you know, please, thank you, excuse me, you know, manners. And that book, what I did is use scenarios of when you use the word please versus when you don't use it, what the outcome can be. But I also noted that not every time you say please, you get the desirable answer. So, and then at the back of the book have basically the breakdown of different ways you could use the word please in different sentences and for different reasons. And so that was the first book that I wrote. The second book I did was excuse and saying excuse me. So the different ways you could use the word excuse. And all these books I use children of my friends or family names, so that so we know who the kids are, but the characters don't necessarily depict who they are, you know. So that book basically have 4 or 5 different ways to say excuse me when you're leaving the table, excuse me, I'm going to sell out the book, but different ways to say, using the word excuse me, and then at the back of the book, again, it have the breakdown of the word and different ways you can use it. And then the third book I wrote is called Does My Belly Have a Brain? Now this is when it started becoming fun. The first 2 books was easy, you know, but then I started using strategies, life experiences, and this one was Does My Belly Have a Brain? Even as adults, if we are going to do something, if we find ourselves in a situation where we are going to do something and we question whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, you just always get this feeling in your stomach.
We will have more with Tamara Leonard in our next program. So stay tuned for that, as we will bring you more about author Tamara Leonard next week.
And we just have this breaking news that a major earthquake strikes Haiti, and it is felt across the Caribbean. A major earthquake has struck Western Haiti on Saturday and was felt across the Caribbean, where people fled their homes for fear that buildings might collapse. The magnitude 7 earthquake struck 8 kilometers or 5 miles from the town of Petit through Nip, about 150 kilometers west of the capital, Port-au-Prince, at a depth of 10 kilometers, the U.S. Geological Survey said. The country is still recovering from a magnitude 7 earthquake closer to the capital 11 years ago that killed tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people and flattened swaths of buildings, leaving many homeless. Everyone is really afraid. It's been years since such an earthquake, said Daniel Ross, a resident of the eastern Cuban city of Guantanamo, adding that his home stood firm, but the furniture shook. And more news, the U.S. tsunami warning system said that there was no tsunami, but also no tsunami warning, but there was no tsunami warning after the earthquake. Wow. Can they take another one? Can they take another one? Not
our
really.
heart goes out to the people of
Yes.
Haiti. And today we had another earthquake, magnitude 7 also in Alaska.
Wow.
You know, so the earth is shaking.
Yes, yes.
The planet is shaking.
We've got hurricanes one way, or tropical storms, which may intensify, and now we've got earthquakes.
Wow. Now back to our
Extreme
news.
weather.
St. Martin says goodbye to 27 students going to the Netherlands. Earlier this week, St. Martin sent another cohort of students, a total of 27, to the Netherlands to study at varying tertiary levels. The students were welcomed at Amsterdam Schiphol Airport by members of the cabinet of the St. Martin Minister Plenipotentiary, guidance counselor, and their assigned bodies, and then taken to the Renaissance Amsterdam Schiphol Airport. The students were provided with meals, necessary information, and the opportunity to rest before the official welcome ceremony at the airport hotel. PJD2 News Director Stephen Cyrillian interviewed a student and her father, and here's what they had to say.
My name is Isaira Baptiste.
Now you're off to the Netherlands, of course, to continue with your studies. Elaborate a bit more on that for us, if you may.
So before I did my bachelor's in Phoenix, Arizona, I got my bachelor's in forensic science, and I want to go on into toxicology. So that's why now I made a decision to go to the Netherlands to further my studies to get my master's in analytical chemistry. So it gets me one step closer to fulfilling the dream of becoming a toxicologist. And it's also a need on the island, as right now we don't currently have our own toxicologists as well.
Why toxicologist?
Toxicology, so a basic runner is a person who analyzed analyze body fluids, that test for drugs, different types of drugs, whether it's recreational or medicinal drugs. I see that as a need because recreational drugs is becoming quite popular, and they have a lot of benefits, but also have a lot of downsides. So we always need somebody here to make sure everything is going right in that area. And also when it comes to medicinal use, somebody who can be there to test the drugs in a person's body, just to make sure that they have the right doses and the doses isn't as lethal as it's supposed to be.
Quite a leap from forensic science to
It's not a big leap, because you can be a forensic toxicologist. So, for instance, if you're at a crime scene and you see blood on the floor, they will send that to a toxicologist to test. Or if you find drugs at a crime scene, they will send that to a toxicologist to test.
And here you are, you're about to do your master's. How long will that take?
So I previously started my master's last school year online due to COVID reasons. So right now I currently have 1 more year. So I should be finished in a year.
Sure, Mr. Baptist, Reverend Baptist, if I may say, is a very proud father. We know what you sacrificed to see to that your daughters, Minanfi and the other one, had to be stable in one way or the other. Here you are, your fruits have been born at this time. Your comments on your daughter's achievement thus far?
Yes, I am extremely proud, of course. And you're happy because you're looking at the years of nurturing, the years of encouragement, the years of support basically coming into fruition. So I am extremely proud. I have every confidence that she's going to do well, that she's going to succeed and achieve her master's degree. And our prayers indeed continues, not just for her, but for all the other students as well. For we have great concern for our children in general, children of St. Martin, etc. So we know that they'll do well. We are here for them. So I would say that I'm extremely proud. I'm excited, I'm elated that they are no doubt making the best of these opportunities that are given to them. Unlike in our day and age, etc., that they have these opportunities and they're making full use of them.
The Division Head of Study Financing, Mr. Antonio Aventurin, provided an update on the preparations that took place before the students left and the studies that most students applied for in order to achieve their degrees. This is what he had to share with the public.
Which entailed that we took them through some preparatory workshops to prepare them for what they're going to encounter in the Netherlands. We also did the mandatory PCR testing for them, for those who were not vaccinated. And as a consequence of that, we had one student that fell off who was COVID-19 positive, so we're down to 27 students instead of 28 because one student had actually traveled to the Netherlands on his own already prior to the group. So we have 27 students departing today to the Netherlands.
Various fields of studies, as I previously mentioned. Can you elaborate a bit more on that for us?
Okay. Well, the most popular field of study for this group of students who are departing today is they want to go into medicine. So we have about, from the entire group that was awarded study financing, the medical area is the most desired area where we see, I think, most probably motivated by the pandemic that we're in. So a lot of students want to go into medicine at this time. After that, the most is, of course, computer specialists, so ICT. We saw, of course, in the pandemic that during the pandemic that ICT became very important with online classes and different stuff like that. So a lot of students want to go into that area. Then you have the traditional ones like accounting and finance that are also extremely popular amongst the students. And social work is the next one, and then educational profession is, let's say, closing off the top 5 of studies for which the students are most interested in.
Approximately how many students are going for medical?
Right now we had about, not in this group exactly, but in total amongst the study financing recipients, because of course I want to highlight that this group that is going here to the Netherlands receives the most attention. But on the whole, we have about 50 students, 50 to 60 students who are going to be traveling to the USA, Canada, but they are traveling in smaller groups and individually based on the fact that, to go to Canada, you need to get your study permit. And for the USA, you need to get your US visa. So that's all an independent process that the parents go through independently, and they then travel independently to the USA and Canada. We also have students going to the UK. So there's a great number of students that are going out there. This is only the group that is going to the Netherlands, which, because of their Dutch passport, they all can travel easily on one day. Yeah. So in general, that I just wanted to highlight that we have a lot more students going out than just the group for the Netherlands that receives all the attention.
Coming up next, Second Chamber Parliamentarian Irene Weriter gives a public update during recess. TIAT Minister leaving the Council of Ministers, and court renders verdict on several criminal and civil cases. We have further details on those headlines and more. Thank you for sticking with us. We'll be right back after this brief commercial break.
Organic Creations is your place when looking for natural health supplements and whole foods. We supply a wide variety of herbal teas, multivitamins, liquid herbs, artist life products, organic nuts and grains, essential oils, and supplements for a wide variety of health conditions, all at a reasonable price. Our certified nutritionist is the perfect guide for supplements that best suits you. Inquire also about our gift certificate for that special someone. Remember, your health is your responsibility. So visit Organic Creations today at shop number 1 in the Orange Grove Shopping Center there in Colby, or call us at 721-523-9496. We open Monday to Friday 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., Saturdays 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Organic Creations, where your health is top priority.
Dutch Member of Parliament Irene Weriter highlights her new political career. In a one-on-one interview with local journalist Ralph Contav, newly elected Member of Parliament in the Dutch Second Chamber, Irene Weriter shared her experience of diving into the political landscape in the Netherlands. Ms. Weriter was a former minister and top civil servant who worked in St. Martin for over 2 decades. Currently, she is a member of the D66 political party and detailed the portfolios she is responsible for and the formation process of the Dutch government. Let's take a look at the highlights of her interview.
As I mentioned, it was a roller coaster. I had to learn so many things simultaneously, not to say the least the political landscape in the Netherlands following the outcome of the elections. Acquainting myself within the faction of D66 further, acquainting myself with the portfolios that I hold, which is very different in comparison to political life here on the islands. With a big political party such as D66 now with 24 seats in a 150 seats second chamber, you are able to dive into your portfolios. And I, of course, hold a portfolio of Kingdom Relations, culture, and media. So it was definitely necessary for me to dive into the portfolio of culture and media, because that is in the context of completely different policies that I have been, of course, accustomed to these last couple of years. So, but it was wonderful. I'm very happy, of course, that the lockdown kind of alleviated these last couple of months, allowing members of parliament to have more work visits, to interact and consult with relevant stakeholders, and that was, of course, very necessary for me to get to know and acquaint myself with so many different issues. The cultural sector is very well developed in the Netherlands. There are ton loads of organizations, institutions in the broad range of the cultural and creative sector, as you know. It could vary from musea to theaters, to all kind of creative industry type of initiatives, the film industry. So you have to acquaint yourself, of course, with existing practice, political developments, decisions and preferred policies that have been practiced, needs, not to say the least, following the impact of the pandemic to the economic impact, but the entire impact on the cultural sector. So those type of things, of course, required tremendous amount of attention. I was happy to meet since June with more representatives and of those organizations, also of the media sector. And I feel much more comfortable, therefore, to also start the new political year with more focus, with a sense of priorities, a better understanding of the political landscape.
Yeah.
And with therefore the aim to get certain things accomplished and to do certain things. Could be related to short-term measures and issues, but also for the long-term matters that you would like to address in the 4 years of your term.
Definitely.
Everybody knew that, and everybody that followed, of course, political developments in the Netherlands understands and have seen that it has been pretty intense and complex. And that therefore choices were made to continue and develop a governing program or a governing accord based on very basic principles, but only the biggest two political parties involved. D66 is one and VVD the other one. That's the process that is ongoing, which will result in the second week of August, the third week of August, to a feedback and hopefully therefore the headlines of the governing program, which will then allow the second phase of formation, inviting other political parties in order, of course, to form a coalition and thereafter then to assign the various portfolios to the respective government officials and ministers and state secretaries. So, similar to what you have seen in 2017, the process may take long. It's a complex issue, but it's telling and it clarifies that the political landscape, the dynamics are and continue to be intense. And it's very important in the Netherlands to, of course, find common grounds, lay out the basic priorities and resources that have to be allocated to those priorities for the 4 years ahead. That's a different process altogether in comparison to the Caribbean Dutch islands that have parliamentary elections as well. They tend to have quicker results and with therefore resulting in cabinets that can be sworn in after a couple of
pretty rapidly.
3-4 months maximum, but it can take much longer, as we've seen now. So it continues to be an intense process. I will return, of course, Friday to the Netherlands, and will also be informed within the next couple of days how it is progressing. I'm hopeful that it will indeed lead to a new cabinet. D66, of course, our party made their kind of like preferred direction known. To invite and to involve other political parties, of course, as progressive as possible, which will also be favorable for some of the portfolios that I hold. Kingdom relations, but also culture, and also media-related affairs.
Welcome back. And as we continue now, Minister De Wever has bid farewell to the executive branch. Caretaker Minister of Tourism, Economic Affairs, Transport and Telecommunications, TEAT, Ludmila De Wever, said that she has big plans now that she will be filling in the vacant parliament seat after making it known a few months ago. Ms. De Wever will be taking up the legislative position full-time after it was left vacant by former Minister of Parliament and current Minister Omar Otley. Here are her final words as Minister of TEAT during the Council of Ministers weekly press briefing.
And just a quick announcement that this is my last press briefing as Minister of Tourism, Economic Affairs, Transportation and Telecommunication. And I have a big smile on my face because I have big plans when I do go to Parliament. But before I go into the announcements from the ministry, I really would like to thank everybody, including my colleagues, especially the Ministry of TEAT, for all of their hard work, all the stakeholders out there that have made this a little over 15 months, I think it's about 16 months, an incredible ride with amazing achievements despite the circumstances of COVID-19. And we can still find all the positives and the accomplishments that we can do as a team together, and that would have never been done without the amazing assistance that I received from the Ministry of TEAT as well as across all the ministries. One of the things, before I go in again to the announcements, one of the things that was said to me last night by a family visiting from Canada was that they like the insurance that the island has because it makes them feel safe. They are concerned that the numbers are going up, but they said what would help their trip even more is if they saw a few more police officers on the road. And I said, well, we do have police officers on the road, but it goes to show that, you know, how important a dialogue is with, especially the people that are visiting your island. And it reminded me that the tourism is something that can only be possible with a strong police force there that makes your population as well as your visitors feel safe. And even in the thanks that I have for everyone, especially even the VSI ministry with their CPS that has actually carried us through this pandemic, managed this pandemic, there are thanks around that has to be shared to everyone. Specifically Chief John and his team that has kept us safe and helped the Ministry of TEAT enforce. And specifically Ryan Peterson and his immigration team, because those two individuals receive calls from me all the time because they are so important to continuing the work of the Ministry of TEAT when it comes to businesses, controlling businesses, keeping us safe, especially as well controlling tourism when they go through with the immigration department. And of course, that wouldn't be done without Minister Richardson, who was kind enough to let me contact all the time her staff to ensure that we had as smooth a process as possible to just elevate and level up and streamline our tourism being processed through the island. And just a quick announcement that this is my
Ludmila De Wever, who is a member of the United People's Party, shared in a statement during an interview with a local talk show that she can't deal with the interference she gets, which is time-consuming, distracting, and the least important part of her job. She expressed her dissatisfaction with trying to be controlled and touted her financial background, where she is used to being objective in her work.
And another story is the court hands down sentences in assault, firearm possession cases. The Court of First Instance handed down sentences on Wednesday in cases of assault, threats, and firearm possession. A man has been sentenced by the court for assaulting and threatening the mother of his 4 children. LAP must complete 90 hours of community service or face 45 days in prison. He was also sentenced to a 2-month conditional prison term with 2 years probation, firing shots from a gun into the air as a way of threatening a victim and assaulting other persons by hitting him in the face with a weapon have resulted in a sentence for a man A.B. He was sentenced to 48 months imprisonment, of which 12 months are suspended. He is on a 2-year probation. Such cases express the serious concern that Minister of Justice Anna Richardson stated is a social ill she would like to tackle. also in relation to a sex offender registry.
When it comes to domestic violence, I can, positively say that this Council of Ministers is working together very, very attentively to be able to address various aspects of matters that are plaguing our communities. And indeed, quite recently we had a discussion to that same effect, and I'm happy to say that we are looking forward to developing a policy where registration of sex offenders is underway. Thank you.
Okay, where are we now?
Okay. Okay, stay tuned. We'll be back right after this.
Organic Creations is your place when looking for natural health supplements and whole foods. We supply a wide variety of herbal teas, multivitamins, liquid herbs, artist-life products, organic nuts and grains, essential oils, and supplements for a wide variety of health conditions, all at reasonable price. Our certified nutritionist is the perfect guide for supplements that best suits you. Inquire also about our gift certificate for that special someone. Remember, your health is your responsibility. So visit Organic Creations today at shop number 1 in the Orange Grove Shopping Center there in Colby, or call us at 721-523-9496. We open Monday to Friday 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., Saturdays 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Organic Creations, where your health is top priority.
Well, Valerie, that brings us to the end of this edition of SXM Daily News Magazine.
Yes. Thank you so much for watching today's broadcast of SXM Daily News Magazine. We encourage you to like, share, and follow our page for more updates, and feel free to email us about your reviews or stories at sxmdailynews@gmail.com. If you have witnessed or were tipped about a breaking news story, then WhatsApp us at 721-580-0627. That's 721-580-0627. Fernando, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for being here.
It has indeed been a pleasure. And we thank all of you for tuning in and watching us. And we invite you to join us again next week, God's willing.
Bye-bye now.